see how we're now, come around here, see how we're now changing the contrast between one side and the other, right? See how that changes?
I like
Right? So all these things have an impact on each other. We've seen intensity, we've seen quality. Let's play around a little bit more with contrast. Who would like to set up one of the aperture lights, which is a little more challenging? Somebody hasn't done anything. Get up and do something.
Come on, Jared. Dude.
Let's go.
That's what you get.
Let's go, Jared. Put up your light stand first. Now, when you check out these aperture lights, again, one of the things you got to do is you got to figure out how do I get the light onto the light stand, right? So let's see, we have batteries. How they're working. Well, these don't even have an indicator. Okay, well, I guess it's just a matter of. So these lights, LED lights also often work on batteries, which is nice. They kill batteries really fast, unfortunately. We got nothing on this. These don't have an indicator on them. No,
Great.
they don't. All right, let's hook up some power. So we need to get power to a light here. I will say, here we go. Find somewhere to plug this in. Now, looking at this, how am I going to get this on the light stand?
I have no idea.
What the hell is that?
You got an adapter?
What the hell is that? Okay, so I guess I gotta start Googling and looking around at the kit, right?
Is there an adapter?
Yes. Or finding them. There's the power cable running that. There's supposed to be an adapter, and this may be one of those situations where, damn it, somebody took them. Let's see. This is the real weakness of these aperture lights. So you've got an adapter that looks like this, right? So you're going to put it on this. This doesn't fit in that hole. That hole shouldn't be there. That hole is there because these are the only replacements we could find after a bunch of you guys broke a bunch of these that cost $400 each. But you do want to get it on there and be sure it's good and tight. Now, I got something that looks like it's going on a light stand. There we go, all the way down, good. Yeah, you're in here. Okay, you want to identify how we get power to it? It's already turned on, okay. All right. I think most of you are familiar with this, right? With three-point lighting. The idea that most lighting setups start from a place of thinking about it in terms of 3 lights. The 3 lights are the key light, which is whichever light you are using to base your exposure on. Okay? The fill light, which is a light that you set up to fill in the shadows that are created by the key light, and a backlight that is generally used to create an outline and some separation from the background. Okay? So what we've got set up right now is our key light. I'm going to leave it, I'll bring it around just a little bit. I'm going to leave it hard. It'll help us see this a little bit better, right? Let's say we're going to use this as our fill light. So we're going to bring it around here. Hold on, a little more distance. And we're going to turn it on, striking. Now, that's as low as this light goes. So the next step for me, I'm a little more off the side than I want to be, is to keep, how don't you guys go over there for a minute? Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember one time I had this pretty much outside the room.
I had to close the door because there was too much light.
No, that's, well, thank you. All right. You do me a favor and turn that off for a second. There we go. So right now, I'm getting some detail on the fill side of his face because the light's bouncing, right? Light waves, they bounce, they move, they go all over the place, right? If I could somehow block this off with black, I want to try that again now. We've got a hard light up. You see a difference, right?
Yeah.
This is what's referred to as negative fill. To really be effective, I need a much bigger piece. Negative fill is when you use black to block light off from hitting the fill side of the face. Okay? So another decision, we got to make decisions about intensity. We got to make decisions about quality. We got to make decisions about direction. We haven't done that yet. But contrast. So let's put that on 10%. Okay, let's go through it. 20.
20?
Yeah. 30.
That's 20.
Okay.
30.
40.
40.
Hold on. Let me do something about it.
Oh, I can. Yeah. No, I'm sure. 33 on
Where are we on now? 40?
Yeah, 40.
Why does it look so blue? Is it just me?
It must, I mean,
It might be bouncing off his jacket.
Could be. That's probably it, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so where are we now?
We're at 3,200 kelvins at 40%.
All right, let's try 50.
Get undressed.
This is a hoodie.
50%. Yeah, it's his jacket.
All right. 60.
60.
I do have a shirt on underneath.
Let's look at something real quick. So one of the problems is this, right? And I'm getting this because I'm too far off to the side. That light really wants to be over there, okay? But we'll live with that for now. Where are we on? 60?
60%.
Try 70.
70.
Try 80.
80.
Try 90.
90.
Try 100. Now at 100, we're pretty much at a 1-to-1 ratio, right? One side of his face is just as bright as the other side of his face. The question for us is going to be, given whatever circumstance we're in, do we like that? Or do we like, let's go to 75. Or do we like that? Let's go to 50. Or do we like that? Let's go to 25. Or do we like that? And let's go to 0. Which is basically means turning it off.
10%, yeah. Off.
Right? There's nothing right or wrong about any of them. What we're really trying to think about, And now let's go back and go to 75. I heard somebody say they like that. Yes, ma'am.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
So, with the fill light, are you trying to completely remove that triangle shadow, or are you?
I'm not trying to, well, it depends. If you turn the fill light up enough, it will remove the shadow. But if we're at 75, for example, that triangular shadow is still there. Right?
Mhm.
Not a lot of it. Take it back to 50. See, at 50, we've still got it. So it's a matter of how bright and dark, and again, I hate that we're getting this and that because we wouldn't if the light was where it should be, which is kind of beside the camera. It's where the light should be. So if we can kind of ignore that, we've still got that triangle there, right? What we are doing is deciding how distinct do we want that triangle to be. Because the darker the fill site is, the more distinct it will be, and the lighter the fill site is, the less distinct it will be. And this is all about how do we want our viewer to feel. I'm going to sit for a second, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not well. How do we want our viewer to feel about our subject? That's almost all that lighting is doing, is creating feeling, right?
I mean, the darker it is, like the more fearful they could be of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dramatic. If you look at classical Hollywood movies, go look at Casablanca.
It's very bright.
Look at Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart's in hard light, pretty high contrast. Look at Ingrid Bergman. Ingrid Bergman's in low contrast, soft light. Because they want you to feel differently about the woman than they want you to feel. The man's supposed to be a tough guy. The woman's supposed to be a love interest. Right? Now, you can still see that, by the way. Turn on any TV show at night, man and a woman sitting at a table, you're going to notice they're lit different. Almost all the time. Right? So there is, with the darker shadow, it's a little harsher, it's a little tougher, it might be a little meaner. I mean, everything in context, right? But the softer the light is, and the more balanced the contrast is. What the contrast is doing for us, what the triangle is doing for us, what the light being over here is doing for us, is creating dimension, depth, right? Shadows mean depth. We're working in a two-dimensional image. We want to have a sense of depth. Shadows will create that. Okay? So that's one of the reasons why the light is over here. Why is the light over here, the key light over here, and not over there?
Is it just personal?
There's no right or wrong
I
here.
mean, I'm on this side of the
Oh,
screen,
oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, if it was coming from this side, it wouldn't.
You got
They would
something
be.
down there here.
It'd be a lot darker.
Yeah, the light half of him that's brighter, filling up the empty space. You don't want the majority of the screen to be dark. You want it to be brighter, and that last, or his I guess left half, is darker going onto the edge of the screen. I'm trying to get my words out correctly.
Yeah, and I agree with you in one and disagree in another. So basically, the idea is by putting the light over here, it's something that's called short lighting. If someone's looking off camera, we're going to see more of one side of their face than the other. So when we're looking up there, we see one ear completely, and we see one ear only partially. In fact, let's exaggerate it a little bit. Just move your nose towards me a little bit. Not that much. Split the difference. Okay, now you look at yourself, right? Notice we can only see one ear, right? So the side where we can see the ear is the broader side. We see more of his face on that side. The other side, this side, is the short side. 90% of the time, when you look at lighting, and this will drive you crazy now, it will be the short side of the face that is key lit and not the broad side. The reason for this generally, well, he had a really good idea about this too. I've always felt like you want to emphasize the shadows to emphasize the depth, therefore you emphasize the side of the face that is in shadow. Also, by lighting the narrower side of the face, you make the face essentially feel narrower. So let's, how are we doing on time?
12:20.
And class is over at
12:45.
12:45. Okay, we got time. Let's all take this in. We're at 75 on that now?
No, we are at 50.
We're at 50. Okay, 50 on that. We're obviously full up on this. Let's switch it around. Let's put our key light over there for Rembrandt lighting. And let's put our fill light over here. And let's, about the same distance. And let's see what happens. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is turn this light off. Can we get the overheads on for a minute while we... And if you will just... Actually, I
Leave
think...
it.
Nah, let's plug it in over there. It's going to be safer. So let's just... We'll work off your cable over there, and you can work off this cable.
Okay, so I can unplug.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Am I plugged in?
Yeah, I think it's like right here. But not that far off.
All right, striking to see where I am. I'm probably coming right where you are.
Blinded by the light.
Okay, you got your head in position there, Tyler. Do that for me. Let's kill that because I can't see what I'm doing right now. And let's kill the overhead. Somebody? Overhead. Okay, have I got that triangle over there?
Yep.
Can you go a little further? Okay. All right. Okay. Now, that's going to have to probably go back over into there.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So this is broadside lighting. It's still Rembrandt lighting. Already, if there's nothing magical about the triangle, by the way, right? It's just a stop on a sort of circular move around our subject. We'll look at that in a little while or next time. Already notice that that's kind of diminished because it's away from us. All right, let's turn that on 10. See, back up as far as you can go. Okay. Now let's go to 50 like where we were before.
50.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the contrast ratio. That's pretty much the contrast ratio we had, right? And I'll post this stuff in a document so you can see a direct comparison. But I am curious. Do you guys think this looks better than the short side, or this looks not as good, or it's just different?
This much is good. In my opinion.
I tend to agree with that, but
The way this is set up, it makes me feel like that whole other third does not even matter because the darkness is coming across. Well, it'd be on this side. Darkness
Yeah.
is coming across, and then you can't even see anything back
Yeah.
here.
That's
yeah.
I
Now, when
kind of like it.
when we polish this up, we'll put some light back there. Right?
Yeah.
We're not done. We only got 2 lights in a 3 or 4 or 5 lighting setup system, right? But the question, and Tyler says he kind of likes it. So, right? There's nothing wrong with doing it this way. I will just tell you that 90% of the time it will be what we had before. And I do believe that it's a little more slimming, and that sometimes is important.
This also looks like it belongs more in like an intense scene rather than something pleasing.
How are we on? Are we on exposure pretty much? Mm-hmm. Might have changed now that I've moved the lights. Probably not in the same position.
You got your exposure meter right there.
I'm not going to worry about that. I got the waveform.
I didn't see that. My bad.
Yeah. Oh, my glasses is the question. Where are my $3 glasses? Oh my God. Never mind. All right. If anybody sees them, let me know.
They're right next to the batteries over there on that.
They're on your head.
They're not. Tell me they're not.
Sorry.
There are times I do that and they're on my nose. Of course, it's always hard to find your glasses when they're not on.
Or when
Okay.
you're ready with it in your hand.
Yeah, let's try it about. We got so much more of the screen lit now that these numbers are a little different. Okay. Well, I think the important thing is that you see that it's different. Right? Sometimes what you will notice is that in dramatic scenes, we can think about interviews, we can think about dramatic scenes. In dramatic scenes, where light usually needs to be motivated, right? In other words, you're in a room, there's a window over there, that's where the light needs to be coming from. Sometimes the way people move around in that light, they'll end up in broad lighting, and then they'll move around some more, they'll end up in short lighting. But yeah, you can just put that in your kind of in your heads. Those are the two opposite versions. Okay, so we've looked at intensity. Right? We have looked at quality. Right? We have looked at contrast. These are all things we control. Right? We control how bright the light is. We control how bright the camera thinks the light is. We can control. And by the way, let's say we're outside in sunlight, and it is the sun that's lighting that side of Tyler's face. We can go out. Here are a couple of things I always say. Go get one of these. Go to the dollar store and get a couple pieces of white foam core. Because I can use that foam core to just bounce the sunlight back in the other side of his face, and I can then control the contrast. The closer that board is, the brighter the fill side will be. The further away that board is, the darker the fill side will be. Right? I can backlight Tyler. I can put the sun behind him and bounce the sunlight back into his face with one of those boards. Or with, we have reflectors too that you can get that are silver and gold and give you a little color and give you a little more reflection. Okay, trying to think, is it worth? Yeah, we got the light set up. Let's do this. Let me take you through 3 or 4, maybe. Well, actually, here's something I want to show you. And I wish I'd done this while the lights were in the other positions.
Move it back real quick.
Let's do. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, right now, this light is really hot.
You need gloves?
No, because I'm not going to touch it.
All right.
I was going to touch it. Yeah, is this about where it was? Striking. See if we even can do this. I'm going to have to hand hold this.
Striking.
Okay, let's kill the overheads. Okay, we're still at 35. Okay. Now, like I was saying, I'm going to bring this all the way down.
I'm gonna move this anyway.
Thank you. Where I really want the fill light to be is more over in here. A little brighter than we want it when it's here. But that way all the shadows are being filled in. When I bring it over here, that no shadow is not being filled in as much. But notice this difference. If we move the fill light around,